Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome to another episode of Pod Snipe Celly. We are brought to you by Noob Sports and the Sports 2.0 Network. My name is Dan Bradley, alongside a distraught Joel Fernino. Joel, I don't even really need to ask how you're doing tonight. The jersey you're wearing, an 88 Blackhawks Kane jersey, it says everything that we need to know. And the first part of the show here, I'm just going to hand off to you. The end of the Patrick Kane era in Chicago. Tell us your thoughts.
Dan, you know, us diehard sports fans, I think you'll understand the metaphor when I say we have two hearts, one normal heart and one sports heart. Well, there is currently a massive dagger in my sports heart right now. No, bit aside, we kind of knew it was coming. Well, obviously we knew it was coming. It's been getting talked about since the weekend. We were just kind of waiting for things to go official. All the speculation, the sadness of the era of the, I don't even care, of the greatest Blackhawks player to ever don the jersey is over. It sucks. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
I mean, HP is just here to see you cry, so there's that.
Look, it goes without saying, and I already said it, he is absolutely the best Blackhawk to ever be a Blackhawk. It sadly needed to be done, though. You know, he didn't want any other team other than the Rangers. It's his home state. He ultimately decided he wants to go chase another cup, and hey, hell yeah, he's earned it. The whole thing between him and the team and Davidson and everything of making sure it was the right move for the franchise, but also for Kane, and it was a mutual thing was cool. There was no bad blood. He's leaving. There's nothing. It's not one of those, those tainted trades, right, where the superstar isn't, he's left in the dark on things. Like they were all in lockstep on this whole thing, and quite frankly, the return isn't really half bad in my opinion. I mean, they were supposed to get much less, some of the reports are saying, than this, and it makes sense with literally have the team. Kyle Davidson had zero leverage on this, and that's what happens when you have a no move clause. A no move clause that Kane earned every ounce of.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I don't think anyone's arguing that one.
I bash Stan Bowman on a daily basis and on a weekly basis on this show, and I will continue to do so. Fuck Stan Bowman. But this is a particular scenario that, like, you sure could you trace it back to him? Yeah, but Kane and also Taves earned those new no move clauses. So like this was something that was inevitable. We just didn't know if or when it would really come to fruition.
Our buddy Minnesota Wild Talk saying, I think the second will become a first, referring to the conditional pick.
Yes.
In the Kane deal, where I believe it's if the Rangers win 2 playoff series, that second round pick becomes a first, which they also the Rangers had 2 first round picks. There's one that's already conditional going to
St. Louis.
As part of that trade. So depending where things fall for the Rangers, they needed some help on the wings, and adding Tarasenko and Kane at the deadline to a team that already has Chris Kreider and Artemi Panarin playing on the wings. You have Capo Caco and Alexei Lafreniere on the wings. Rangers are loaded up.
Watch that plus 33 goal differential they have. Get ready for that to double.
I mean, maybe, but you got to be able to hold your own in your own zone as well. And we've seen Shesterkin, who was on an ungodly pace last year. I mean, Shesterkin, very, very good goaltender. I think it's safe to say the historic numbers he put up, we knew there was going to be a little bit of regression. We've seen a bit more regression than I think was to be expected. I have no doubt that he can elevate his play down the stretch, especially with the mindset that this team is all in. They really have stepped up so much just in the last couple of weeks you've seen since the Tarasenko deal went through. This move to me is, okay, Boston, we see you. We're coming for you. Okay, Devils, you go out and get Timo Meier. Okay, we're going to add yet another piece. And it's just an absolute arms race in the Eastern Conference right now.
It literally is a war of attrition in the East right now, especially in the Metro. Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I love the move for the Rangers. I'm okay with him going to the Rangers. I'm happy that was the one team he was willing to go to. I mean, the only other one I would have liked would have been Vegas, but that wasn't going to happen.
No, I don't think so.
You know, I loved this. We had Boston fans saying, Kane's going to look real great in the black and gold. And I'm like, no, your shit fan base doesn't deserve him.
Oh, damn. Bruins fans out here catching strays in the.
I am so ready for the Rangers to just go to war with the Bruins. The Bruins are on a historic path right now. They are on pace for 63 wins so far this season, and that would set the record. But hey, man, if Shesterkin can figure his shit out, and I think he will, he is elite for a reason. Mm-hmm. I think he'll figure his shit out. If he does that, they already have the solid defense, and now what was already an extremely potent offense just got two massive shots of steroids into both arms with Tarasenko and Patrick Kane. Mm-hmm. And the only thing outside of all the business stuff with it that keeps me smiling through all of this is that we get to see Patrick Kane and Artemi Panarin be on a line together again.
Quite possibly. I mean, the chemistry is there. They already have that, pretty well figured out. I think to me, one of the really interesting aspects to both the Tarasenko trade and the Kane trade is, they didn't have to give up Lafreniere. They didn't have to give up Kakko. And I've said on this show, I thought moving either of them would be nuts, foolish for the Rangers to do. But they managed to pull off getting both of those players without moving Lafreniere or Kakko. They did it without giving up Keandre Miller. They did it without giving up Braden Schneider. The young guns that they have up and coming are relatively untouched as well. So even if somehow this all blows up in the Rangers' face and they're not in a position next year where they can re-sign Kane or Tarasenko or both in some weird circumstance, I would be stunned if either re-signed there, but
I would be too. These are definitely both rental pieces. Mm-hmm. I mean, we could have another show of the two big, gets in Tarasenko and Kane, who's more likely to re-sign, but that's for another show. I don't really know if I have an answer for you right now.
My immediate instinct today says Kane, but again, with what it could be for the playoffs, if either of them really catches fire and just shows unbelievable chemistry, poise, and helps lead that team to a cup, it's hard to think that they might not get re-signed. So there's still potential there, but
that's the thing. It's just going to be fun to finally see Patrick Kane back in playoff hockey again. That's good for the league. The league needs that. And I mean, I could talk for the entire show on this. This is obviously the biggest trade of the day, but we got plenty of other trades, and I will put a bow on it by saying, well, I'll put a bow on my end of the Chicago end that, not that he'll ever watch this, but Patrick Kane, thank you so much for everything you did for this city, the Blackhawks, bringing a Stanley Cup dynasty to the Blackhawks, bringing some flair to the game, and quite literally giving me my love for hockey. When he was drafted, when he was drafted, that was it. The word got around, and all of a sudden the Blackhawks became relevant, and that's when the TV deal was struck in 2007 when he was drafted, and thus creating this enigma that is, hockey in Chicago. So he did so much, and I will tell you right now, I told you when the Hossa thing got announced, I will be at the game, whatever game it is, when it's all said and done, when 88 goes up into the United Center rafters.
Yeah, I can't imagine tickets to that one are going to be cheap either.
Don't care. Take my money. I will write a blank check, and they can put a dollar amount on it, and I will be there.
So you mean to tell me the biggest trade of the day isn't Marcus Johansson and Gustav Nyquist to the Minnesota Wild? It's not Matthias Ekholm to the Edmonton Oilers. We got to talk about
We got a
some
lot of
action out west as well.
Dude, tell me if I'm wrong. Does it not feel like today was the trade deadline?
It really has. At least the last like 3 hours, roughly. Yeah. Like the deadline isn't until 3:00 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Which at this point, I mean, you look at who's left. Maybe Arizona moves Chychrun. Maybe San Jose moves Carlson.
We have
most of the big name pieces we thought have already been moved. So
yeah, we got Max Domi potentially. We got you said the main two. Max Domi, I've heard calls about from Colorado to the Hawks. Well, God, what? There's a comment.
There is. It's Minnesota Wild related. So
okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. I can't really think of another big name that's really sitting out there anymore other than who we just said. Is there really any other?
Everkov?
Besser, maybe.
Maybe Brock Besser.
No one really has been, clamoring for. I feel like he would have been dealt already at this point if someone really wanted him.
I thought Minnesota is going to try and wait until the offseason to try and get a deal there. I think Vancouver kind of knows that too.
Toasty take, you got the better player in Johansson.
Over Besser?
Yep. He's better than him right now.
Wow.
As the stats say today, he's better than him right now, at least this season.
I vehemently disagree. I just think Besser is
longevity-wise, I'm not saying he got the better player, but
I think even for the more immediate impact, I mean, Johansson hasn't scored a goal since mid-January. Is not a super strong player. But, middle six, I think, is likely his role on the team. Reacquired for Minnesota as well. Had him a couple of years ago. Didn't really work out, but he was injured quite a bit. So maybe just kicking the tires and seeing if there's still something there. Bringing in Nyquist, sadly for HP, we lose his favorite player, third round pick.
Yeah, where's your? I got my Patrick Kane jersey on. Where's your third round pick jersey?
It's hanging in the closet. I was too sad to pull that one out and wear it today.
That's fair. You can hop on the hockey depression train with me then.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, a bit of a surprise when it was like, wait, Marcus Johansson is the player you're trying to go out and get, especially for a third. But it is a third round pick next year, so maybe at next year's trade deadline or next year's draft day, I'll wear my third round pick jersey, just in commemoration of what could have been. But bringing in Gustav Nyquist, who is on injured reserve right now for Columbus and now I guess for Minnesota following the trade, but was acquired with 50% retention and was acquired using the pick that the Wild got for retaining salary in the Dmitry Orlov deal with the Boston Bruins. So Boston's fifth goes to Minnesota and then to Washington, who actually originally made the deal with Boston to move Orlov. It just kind of all comes full circle. So interesting how that bit of business worked out. Joel, with the Wild currently 2 points, I guess 3 points, 3 points back of Dallas for first place in the Central, 4 points out of first in the Western Conference. Is this enough for Minnesota to get by Dallas, Colorado, Winnipeg, and make a move towards the top of the Central? Or is this a type of move that not going to do too much, but will still solidly lock them into a playoff position?
There's a lot to unpack there. Is it enough for you guys to move to the top of the Central? I mean, relatively speaking, maybe you're only 3 points out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're 1 point behind Colorado, and obviously I said 3 points behind Dallas, but it's a lot of depth, right? Like it's depth. Nyquist, maybe a little depth scoring. Johansson, depth playmaking. Really, I know you said he hasn't scored a goal since January. Like
there's some thought that Johansson might go on Boldy's line,
right? And with all that said, and who knows, maybe you're not done. I don't really know what other big splash you would make, but you guys have been waking up again a little bit, right? Again, like I said, 3 points out. I think it is enough to stave off Winnipeg. Maybe that's a hot take, but I do think it is enough to stave off Winnipeg. They're a sleeper team, and we talked about it, but they're starting to show that, are they really for real? We don't really know. I mean, they're a tough team to play against. That's all we know.
Yeah, ever since we praised them on last week's show, they've gone on a 3-game losing streak. So
I know.
You're welcome, Winnipeg.
Right.
It's our fault.
Exactly. Sorry about that, Winnipeg, but also not sorry because I don't care.
Fair enough.
I am in that mood right now.
No, you're going down swinging, and you're taking everybody with you.
When a legend leaves, this is what happens. I would argue that you could fight with Dallas. I think you could. We always say all you got to do is get to the dance.
Yep.
I think in a 7-game series, you and Dallas would be a bloodbath. That series goes to 6 or 7.
It does.
The only thing I will unfortunately have to put you down is Colorado has woken up. They're still not healthy, and yet they have awoken.
They're such
And
a
they are
6-game win streak right now.
Yeah.
7-1-2 points in 9 of their last 10 games.
To the surprise of pretty much nobody.
Yeah, we knew they were coming back, and they're doing this with Cale Makar out with a concussion.
Right.
Landeskog is still out about another 2.5-3 weeks with his knee injury. And that's just once he starts skating again, too. That's not even a guarantee, that he'll be ready right then.
They've reunited with Jack Johnson.
Yep. For the vibes.
For the vibes. They gave us his last name's England. I don't even remember what his first name is, but it is not Derek England. No. I'd have to look up the trade.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
It was a very super minor trade. Yeah. Can you stave off Winnipeg? Can you fight with Dallas? Both of which, absolutely. Colorado, I'm sorry. I once they get healthy, and who knows, there is still a chance that they are not healthy by the time the playoffs start fully.
Right.
So if that's the case, and that's a big if, maybe you can fight with them a little bit, but you're not. I am kind of starting to firmly jump back into, I think Colorado is going to take the Central, their rightful place back up at the top of the Central. But I think you can definitely firmly hold that 3 seed and potentially even take the 2 seed. I thought you could do that even without these moves, and now with these kind of depth moves, it's a little bit of insurance to maybe make sure you can do that. So yeah, I'd say so.
And so HP is wondering here, since the Wild can't really use Gustav Nyquist until the playoffs, maybe he's back like the final week of the season, but looking at what good is that deal, he's asking if he can't get thrown into the lineup before the playoffs. Nyquist brings an element of speed that at times the Wild have lacked this season, especially when you're looking at someone to be on a line with Boldy. It feels like there's not really someone who is a setup player who is driving play on Boldy's line. And Nyquist, he's not a point per game pace type of player, but he is someone who is pretty solid across the board, especially when he's healthy, which unfortunately he hasn't been the last couple of years. So it's almost kind of, you're taking a flyer on the hopes that if he's healthy and good to go and is able to return to his former level of play, he had 53 points last season and played all 82 games.
Solid.
So yeah, solid and good when he's healthy, but he has had some injuries throughout his career. But a good player when healthy and able to stay in the lineup, somebody that can be counted on. So I am optimistic about what the Wild could do with Johansson, with Nyquist, but again, going to kind of have to wait and see there a little bit.
And he'll stay on long-term IR, right? Like you said, until
Yeah, likely until the end of the regular season. So
for sure. Okay.
that's what it's sounding
so,
like.
technically, your cap is still open.
Yeah, so the Wild still, if you can believe this, have $7.3 million in deadline cap space.
Because
So they could still make some more moves, just the way the dollars work out. So
what would you do if the Wild won the Jacob Chikrin sweepstakes?
I would absolutely love it. I don't know, and we've heard a few Minnesota Wild podcasts have talked about that lately, and I'm gonna shout those guys out quick. Seth Topal with Locked On Wild has brought it up. Hoppy and Isha on oh god, why am I blanking on it? Sodapod.
It's like
yeah.
I know it.
Yeah, I was like, I've been on it. Like, why am I blanking? It's been a long week already, and it's only Tuesday.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Different kind of long day than you've had, but
that's fair.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Remember, this is just the sport.
But they've brought it up, and Chikrin to Minnesota. Like, you look at what Chikrin's contract situation is, where he would be on the expiration of his deal after the Parise and Suter buyouts are done, and you suddenly have all of that cap room. You have a situation where your top 4D rolling into next year are probably Spurgeon, Brodin, Chikrin, Faber, with Addison likely in the mix as you're somewhere in there. He might move up to 4 and have Faber on 5. But either way, that is an elite core for the Wild defensively. They do have a very good pipeline of defensive prospects coming up. So if the Wild somehow got a deal done for Chikrin, I mean, I would be ecstatic about that. I definitely would not complain. But I do think the Wild would have to give up a lot to get Chikrin. And honestly, I think at this point, Arizona might not move him at all this trade deadline. They may have to wait until the draft or later into the offseason.
That's almost okay. I mean, I get it. It's a legend versus a very good player, but it sounds worse than like the Kane situation where it's like he was supposed to get moved last deadline. Nothing happened. He was supposed to get moved during the draft.
Last deadline, it was still even like, are they actually doing this? Because that was
right.
That was when they still had not moved DeBrincat at that point. They just moved Hagel.
What? No, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about Chikrin.
Oh, I'm going back to Kane for a minute though to compare that. Even last year, like it didn't really come up until about the draft, I think, because even at the trade deadline, like they still had DeBrincat. They moved Hagel, but then it was like, okay, well, is that next? That was kind of the impetus for all the Kane trade talks. Whereas Chikrin has been discussed for more than a year now. Going back to, I think the start of last season was first when they were really.
But that's my point.
Right.
Like it's been going on, and it's like he has been the top trade deadline prospect now for 2 straight deadline years. He was a top draft trade prospect. That didn't happen. And then obviously now we're here. Like he was just a trade. He was a trade prospect when the season started, and then you add him to the list of actually a deadline trade. It's just crazy, and I feel for Chikrin, man. Like he's just like, what the hell am I doing? Where the hell is my future? Like what's going on?
Yeah, Chikrin is in a very weird spot, and with the Kane deal today, I think you and HP and I were talking about this one earlier, that the Hawks now have something like 17 picks.
I have it up right now. I have it up. So over the next 3 drafts, we have 2 first-round picks in the next 3 years.
Yep. So that's 6 picks.
And here, if we would, so 3 first rounds, 3 second rounds. I'm sorry, 6 first rounds. 3, 4, 5, 6 second rounds, and 5 third-rounders over the next 3 years. So do that math real quick for you. It's 12, 17. Yeah, exactly.
17. Yeah.
17. Yeah, 17 picks.
Yeah, 17
in the
picks
third
for the
round
first
or
3
higher.
rounds. Yeah, over the next 3 years. Arizona has 18 such picks in that span.
Not to mention, I look at this coming year's draft. The Hawks will be picking 5 times in the first 2 rounds. They have 3 second rounds and 2 first rounds. And then actually, I said 6 first rounders.
One of those seconds could become a first as well.
Well, no, that wasn't even including the Kane one. This thing right now. So the second, actually, technically, it's 18 then because they have the second automatically.
Oh yeah.
So it's 18 now. But yeah, you're right. So those 6 first rounders could become 7 first rounders in 24 or 25 based on if the Rangers make it to the conference final, which I think they can.
I think so. But again, looking at where that East sits right now, they're 6 points back of the Devils, who just got Timo Meier.
The thing is they've come back down to earth. They're only so far behind that because Shesterkin has been very mid, and that's very uncharacteristic of him. So that, they've lost out on some opportunity there. New Jersey started out in the clouds.
Yeah, they just on a heater.
And obviously they sustained it. They're a good team, and they are a formidable opponent. Like they are not to be taken loosely or lightly, but still.
Yeah.
And then Carolina, of course, but.
HP saying, really looking forward to the 2027 Western Conference Finals between the Yotes and the Hawks. Yeah. Maybe a little longer there, but I mean.
Longer?
Yeah, just because you got to give those picks time to get there, develop, and get their feet under them a little bit.
Yeah, that was the
29? 2029 for sure.
Oh, man, wait. Let's pause. How old will we be in 2029?
Don't do that math. 37.
You'll be 37, so that means I'll be 35. Oh! Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my 3 cups in my youth.
Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Did I lose me?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
I might have lost myself there.
You were lagging a little bit. Your voice wasn't. Your face wasn't.
Yeah. We've been having some internet issues here lately, so
we freeze frame on that glorious beard. That's okay.
Gonna move on here. I don't know how to segue out of that. We were talking Timo Meier with the Devils, and since this trade just went through, what is the ceiling for New Jersey, especially in light of the Kane trade? At this point, does Carolina go out and try and make one more move to really put them over the top?
I've been meaning to. I've honestly, you brought it up. I've been meaning to mention it. Carolina needs to go make some more moves because they still haven't found, a quote unquote replacement for Pacioretty not being there, which was supposed to be one of their kind of propellers this year.
Yeah, and they have $7.1 million in deadline cap space, so they certainly still have the space on roster to make a move. They did go out and get Jesse Puljujarvi, which was an intriguing move. He needed to get out of Edmonton, I think, change of scenery.
It's a solid move. I mean, it's not a world beater.
Yeah, it's not going out and getting Timo Meier or Patrick Kane or Vladimir Tarasenko,
right?
But still a good, relatively low risk move. He is a restricted free agent at the end of the year, so if things work out, they can sign him. If not, they can work out a tender or a long term or they can enter him or potentially have another team come in and take him.
Remind me again, Timo Meier, did they sign and trade, or was that sign and trade, or did they not? Is he still pending? Right
not yet.
Okay. So, but he's probably the one out of almost every trade deadline acquisition we'll see that you'd think will re-sign with the Devils.
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing how a re-sign doesn't happen there. Additionally, knowing hang on a second here. I think I screwed something up.
What'd you do? All right. Well,
I was trying to find that's why, because I was trying to find Timo Meier's contract that I was on the wrong.
While you look, For me, it kind of comes down to what I just mentioned. If the Devils are going to re-sign Timo Meier, then their ceiling, are we talking what's their ceiling this year? Or their ceiling
I just meant this to be this year.
Okay, so
just
just
long
this
term
year
looks pretty darn good. I mean, the window is much closer to open/opening than it is to being closed.
To me, they are obviously here. They have arrived. We know that already. We know that because they didn't just, like I say, start in the clouds at the beginning of the season and then fall off the wagon. Like they have stayed on the wagon all season. Obviously, like I said, they've come back down to earth a little bit, but they're sustaining. They are still solidly in that second place in the Metro.
Mm-hmm.
Adding Timo Meier is huge, especially for your offense.
Mm-hmm.
One player is not going to necessarily tip the scales so substantially that there's no competition. It's over. One significant player, though, for them definitely makes them formidable. I mean, I would say their ceiling has to be the conference finals. I don't see, and that's probably pushing it, to be honest with you. They are a damn good team, but that's kind of where I'm thinking more longevity. Like they have arrived, but this is the first year really where it was like, oh shit, they're here. They're exceeding expectations. So now next year you're gonna have to meet even higher expectations because now you don't have any excuses of a rebuild. Your guys are here. Your guys have arrived. Your stars have arrived. You traded for a blue chip star, and now you kind of have to weigh that out too, I think. So this year, absolute ceiling is the Eastern Conference Finals for me. It's just hard to think higher than that. And hell, and like I said, conference finals to me is probably still pushing it only because they just arrived. Unless they can catch lightning in a bottle at the end of the regular season like they did at the beginning of the regular season and take that and make a run. Realistic ceiling, semifinals. Pushing it, ceiling.
Conference semifinals, you're saying?
Yeah.
So second round of playoffs?
Okay. Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of with you here because, I mean, making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, certainly realistic for this year. But I think you're looking at what is Carolina going to do. Look at what the Rangers just did. Still can't sleep on the New York Islanders, who the Bo Horvat trade has worked out decently well for them. Again, not a scenario where I'm taking the Islanders over any of those three in a playoff series as it sits today.
I hate to burst your Islanders bubble, but
I know they're not going anywhere there.
If you're going to tell the Islanders ceiling is the first round,
the Islanders. The one advantage I would give the Islanders over New Jersey is the amount of playoff experience, both recently and on roster.
I do agree with that.
Could come into play, not likely, but still possible.
I agree.
I think realistically, can they make it to the conference finals? Yes. Will they get by the Rangers? I don't feel great about saying that today. Also, knowing that once they get there, they'll have to go through Boston or Toronto or Tampa Bay.
I was about to say, I think, is that a segue into the next thing? Because we haven't even talked about all of the chips that Toronto has put into the middle of the table.
Yeah, they have been wheeling and dealing all day. And I didn't even, as I was trying to put these banners together for the show tonight, didn't even get to put together a Leafs banner with their trades because they've just been moving all sorts of pieces.
Yeah, I mean, literally, the biggest thing for them was the other day when they traded with the Hawks for Jake McCabe, making his Toronto return, and then Sam Lafferty. So that's
remember when that deal went through? We're like, yes, the Blackhawks trade we all expected today.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I was like, all right.
I texted you. I think. Oh no, it wasn't that. Was it that one?
It was that one. Yeah, it was that one.
It was where I was like, the deal is done with Toronto.
Oh, yeah. I hated you.
You were so mad.
I hated you because I had already seen the McCabe Lafferty thing, like the reports before they really finalized it, and then you sent that, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, like
Oh, HP saying that was the Jack Johnson trade.
Oh, yes.
Oh, because it's to Colorado. But yeah.
Yeah.
Joke still stands.
Exactly. So, yeah, like Toronto, okay, let's – and here, first, and we talked about this already, they get Ryan O'Reilly, which is massive, along with Nola Chari, right? There's two solid players added to your already just powerhouse roster. Then you go and trade with the Hawks for a nice, pretty high depth trade with McCabe and Lafferty. McCabe is a damn solid defenseman. Like he bolsters up your blue line. He's a very good defensive defenseman. He ain't going to give you much offense, but that's okay. That's not what he's getting paid to do. That's solid and on a team that needs defensive defensemen. And then Sam Lafferty basically is a depth piece. He's a bottom six guy, but he arguably was one of the probably most sought after bottom six trade deadline guys out there this year. He shores up your PK easily, and he's just a hard worker. He's going to give you his all. At one point, he was leading. It's probably changed now. I actually should look that up and see who's in the lead now. But for a little while there, it was Sam Lafferty who was leading the league in shorthanded goals. So that to me, all those trades, those four main pieces, and I mean they also, they've made a couple other moves too. I know they're a little smaller or whatever it is.
Well, the other one that kind of surprised me with how they were able to pull this one off was they shipped out Rasmus Sandin to Washington for Eric Gustafson
and a first. Right.
So they got a first-round pick back, then sending a third-round pick to Vancouver for Luke Shen. So now
those are the other two I forgot. Yes,
a Toronto defense that, frankly, has been the Achilles heel of the team, I would say, for the last decade, but especially during their current window, as they've been trying to get out of the first round. That's what has been holding them back is their defense. To bring in pieces like McCabe and Shen, who will just murder everybody on the ice, eat a ton of pucks, and
not to mention the hockey
miserable.
IQ.
Yeah, they have built really a back end that is now set for the playoffs and ready for playoff style hockey.
Exactly, and I think it all boils down to every trade you just mentioned, every trade we both just mentioned, that is what a total of, was that 6 pieces?
Yeah.
6 pretty significant pieces they add in one way, shape, or form. That is arguably the biggest, I mean, actually not even arguably, Toronto's made the biggest volume of trades so far in the East. Obviously, the Rangers have made the kind of highest quality
splashier moves,
the biggest splashier moves, and probably the highest quality as well. Toronto has just made like the volume, oh my god, like quantity over but theirs is like a combo of quantity and quality. And here's my thing, Kyle Dubas is thinking literally, so HP is literally reading my mind. If these pieces don't get them past the if these pieces can't get them to at least a game 7 to put them into the conference finals, if these pieces can't get them past the first round, you blow it up. You go scorched earth.
Well, I think that's why Dubas is making all these moves, because if he can't make these moves and get the team past the first round with these moves, he's got to be gone.
He's got to be gone, and the team's got to be done. They keep maybe one of the two in Marner or Matthews. Everyone else would be gone. The rental pieces in those trades, signing somewhere else most likely, unless they really like it there, and then they will blow everything up. And if they don't, I don't really even know what's going on anymore.
I think Toronto will quite literally burn to the ground this year if they can't get past the first round after all of these moves. I know we've been saying that for years, but and
it's just the first round.
Yeah, and again, it's the first round. You know, they have a roster that you look at in terms of talent, and it's like there's no reason that this team shouldn't be in the Eastern Conference Finals. But then you remember, oh, wait, you can also say that about Boston. You can also say that about Tampa Bay. You can also say that about now the Devils, the Rangers, Carolina, Florida, who is good but has been massively underperforming this season. Leafs have such a tough run, and the amazing thing, like if they were in the Western Conference, like that is your Stanley Cup representative in the Western Conference, right?
Well,
would you say that today Toronto is better than any team in the Western Conference today? Maybe Colorado.
I was going to say
healthy.
Outside of Colorado, yes.
Yeah. And
outside of Colorado healthy, yes, absolutely.
But as it sits with today's Colorado, where Makar and Landeskog are both still out.
Yeah, but Makar will be back. So
he will. I mean, they both will. But like, if I'm picking 7-game series today, give me Leafs in 5.
No, I'm still picking Colorado.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the choke factor and just how good of a team Colorado really still is at its core. Yeah, I mean, but you're right. You put Toronto in the East, they're just chilling. Or I mean, sorry, in the West, yeah, they're just chilling. They're like, yeah, looking down on everybody else. This is no big deal. And that brings up the broader topic of like, so look at all the moves that the East is making, and then the West is just sitting there like, hey.
Yeah, our big moves are Marcus Johansson and Gustav Nyquist. And I mean, Ekholm is still a very good get for Edmonton.
Edmonton, right. That was the biggest one so far.
Yeah, that's probably your biggest Western Conference upgrade.
That trade, that's another trade we didn't talk about. That trade is so nuts to me. Like I saw Ekholm going to Edmonton, which I love. Like we've talked about it. They need to shore up that defense. Ekholm does that very much so, but I didn't expect a first round and Tyson Barrie to be involved in getting shipped out for Matthias Ekholm.
Yeah, I mean I feel for Barrie too, because like the whole situation with Nashville too is David Poile is stepping down as the GM
in the midst of all of this.
and I mean he is making all sorts of moves. He sent Nino Niederreiter to the Winnipeg Jets. Now the Ekholm move, there was acquiring I want to say it was Isaac Ratcliffe from Philadelphia for future considerations. Just kind of mixing and matching, and I don't even get the sense that Nashville is totally done yet with the moves that they're making. So Poile kind of blaze of glory on the way out the door. Leaving Trotz with some pieces to work with, but
still, I mean, does this not riddle me this? Does the Central and what they're doing now basically just kind of show like they are basically the entire Central Division is conceding to Colorado, to Dallas, to Minnesota, and maybe a little bit to Winnipeg?
I mean, I think those 4 that you just named, Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, Winnipeg, like that's your top 4 pretty clearly in the Central. I think Nashville is officially like, we're out of it this year. We're done. The Blues, we saw with them moving on from O'Reilly and Tarasenko.
And there's reports that Braden Shen might be on his way out.
Braden Shen might be on the way out. I was hearing today that teams were starting to kick the tires on Colton Parayko a little bit as well, which that would really blow things up on the back end for the Blues.
I'm sorry. I think the Blues are rebuilding. This isn't just my hope. This isn't me speaking with the heart. They are rebuilding without saying they're rebuilding.
Yeah, they haven't come out and said, we're going to stink the next few years, stick with us, in the same way that the Hawks have.
You know why?
HQ brings up a good point. Yeah, Barbashev is gone
too. That's right. Barbashev just went to that. Like, yeah, like they're rebuilding.
You can read between the lines on it.
They're cowards.
Because they didn't come out and say it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going after every team I don't like today.
Well, let's go after these Wednesday night picks because we got 6 of them that we need to get through.
We do.
Last week was not a great week for either of us. I went 1 for 2. Joel 0 for 3 last week.
0 for 3 last week?
Yeah, unfortunately. Coyotes for the bit didn't pan out for you.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And that happened to be the one that I got right, and then we whiffed on the other 2. So bit of a bummer there. And like we've talked about, weird season for picks. all time getting dangerously close to 500 on my end, and below 500 for both of us on the season. Let's get back into the win column. New York Rangers -1.5 goals at +115 at the Philadelphia Flyers. I actually want to check on these odds because I wrote these up before the Kane trade was finalized. I want to see what the betting action has done now. Actually, believe it or not, on the puck line, those are still the correct odds.
Really?
Yep.
Let's see.
So I have to think Patrick Kane's debut with the Rangers, he's scoring a goal, maybe multi-point game. I'm hammering +115 on the -1.5 goals at Philadelphia.
I am as well. However, I am adding a bet to this for anyone listening. This isn't for Wednesday Night Picks. For anyone who wants to put money, and you can completely bitch me out on Twitter if I'm wrong, but I can almost guarantee you, put money on a Patrick Kane anytime goal scorer.
Yep.
Patrick Kane
I'm just logging in now to try and get my bet in on that one too.
I won't even say this is a Joel Stradamus hashtag thing. This is simply Patrick Kane will score a goal tomorrow night. If he doesn't, I will be dumbfounded personally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I'm trying to. Where is this? There we go.
Hold on, I gotta take a step back. Me just saying that Patrick Kane will score a goal tomorrow night when the team up on the screen is the New York Rangers is that kind of hit me. That hit me a little bit.
Yeah.
We both agreed. Please move on.
It does not look like they have goal scorers props up yet.
They should.
They probably will soon, but one to keep an eye on there. Yeah, I'm hammering Rangers -1.5 tomorrow night. That to me is just a lock.
Oh yeah, no,
we have some other very good games that will probably be a bit closer than Rangers Flyers, starting with Maple Leafs -135 at the Edmonton Oilers +115. Two faces of the league in Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews going toe to toe. Should be a very, very good game.
A lot of other trade acquisition debuts in this game too, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was looking at this game today. This was the one I was kind of hoping we would save this one for last because this one's tough.
Well, we've got some other ones that might be even tougher, as hard as that sounds to believe.
That's true. Man, Edmonton's offense has been scary, even though they still can't seem to get the wins. They're on a 2-game losing streak, even though Connor McDavid just passed the 50-goal mark for the first time in his career, which is very weird. It was the first time. But yeah, he just passed it. He had a couple of goals last night, last night, right? Yeah, they played last night. Yeah. A couple of goals last night in a losing effort to the Bruins. And a good team like that doesn't go on a 2-game or a 3-game losing streak, especially at home. Toronto is scary good too, and I think all the points we made about them bolstering their team up so much with a grand total of now 6 pieces. 2 of those pieces have already started in the lineup already, but the other pieces are going to kind of need some uptime, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
some practice reps in.
Yeah, with that in mind, along with the fact that I just don't see a team like the Oilers rocking a 3-game losing streak, I actually am going to take the Oilers. At plus money, I got to do it.
Yeah, it's so tempting on that plus money too. I am going to go chalk here and take Maple Leafs, but this game to me, I mean that's must watch hockey.
Is that one of the TNT games? It should be.
I think so. Let me check.
Oh, let's go. Rangers Philly is one of them. So Edmonton, Toronto is not.
Okay. So then, so the other TNT game tomorrow we'll get to later on in our
correct. Oh my God, that's another really good game too.
Yeah, you see why I said we've got some good ones to get to here.
We've been making fun of the league for not marketing itself. Well, it's doing it tomorrow.
Well, but then on the other hand, the league is also for the third week in a row putting the Arizona Coyotes on a Wednesday night. Thanks, Gary.
I mean, it's not the primetime game. It's only the game for us, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. But still, Arizona Coyotes plus 1.5 goals at plus 130. At the Dallas Stars, minus 1.5 goals, minus 150. Joel, don't look now, but these Coyotes have points in 8 of their last 10 games.
Good.
They are on a 2-game losing streak. Dallas points in 7 of 10, but also losses in 7 of 10. The loser point really bailing them out right now. You went Coyotes for the bit last week. Gonna do it again this week?
You're damn right I am.
At a kid.
Absolutely. Stars are great. Stars are going to win the game, but I think the Coyotes step up and give them a run for their money. I think they keep it close.
Yeah, and as bad as the Coyotes have been on the road this year, Dallas has lost 16 of 31 home games. They are 15-8-8. So Coyotes plus money on the cover, really, really tempting to think about here.
That's the thing. Dallas is going to win the game. Like outright money line, absolutely, Dallas is winning the game. But I would like to take this opportunity to say, fucking new guy,
Norm Green.
Well,
but yes,
no,
we went over this.
Yeah, it's fucking new guy. All right,
it's Norm Green.
I don't even know who Norm Green is.
We went over this.
I know. Am I just doing it to piss you off, or am I actually serious?
I think you're actually serious. I think you forgot who Norm Green is.
I did.
Yeah, he's the guy who moved the North Stars to Dallas.
Oh, right. Smart guy. All right, anyway.
Moving on. I didn't actually make my pick here.
Do it. Come on,
I like you. I'm going Coyotes for the bit.
There it is.
Let's do it. New Jersey Devils plus 110 at the Colorado Avalanche minus 130. We've talked a lot about both these clubs. Don't need to go too deep into the matchup here, but give me your pick.
I've had this one ready. Like I said, the Avs have finally woken up, and they continue to wake up. I got to go with the Avs.
I'm going to go Devils. Just being different.
No, it's fair.
I think that should be a very good game too. There's so much good hockey on tomorrow night.
The only thing I'll say about this game before we move on, since we talked about it, a good Avalanche team, a woken up Avalanche team, is what brought me to the dance at Wednesday Night Picks last season. So I'm gonna get back to that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Washington Capitals minus 175 at the Anaheim Ducks plus 140. I did want to wait and see what the odds were on this game, knowing that Washington moving some pieces around today. Just kind of how are the odds going to fall there? Did end up going money line on this one. So for those of you are just joining us late, the Washington Capitals acquiring Rasmus Sandin, sending out Gustafsson in a first, also getting a 3rd-round pick from Minnesota for Marcus Johansson. So some new look lines there. And Anaheim, of course, has a defenseman. I'm blanking on his name. Klingberg, right?
John Klingberg.
Yeah, they signed this offseason with the anticipation that they were going to trade him at the deadline, but he has been brutal this season and probably not going to get moved at this point. But I mean, still could. You never know.
Wonder how he would be on Edmonton.
Let's find out.
What? Are you just looking up Edmonton's defensive?
No, I'm saying let's just make the deal happen. Let's say it goes through.
YOLO.
Yep. Just make it happen. I don't care what it takes to get it done. Just get it done.
I mean,
it'd be fun.
Doesn't hurt Edmonton. I don't know if it necessarily helps them either, though.
Right. I'm going to go Anaheim on this one. I don't know why. Just a feeling in my gut. We love a good home underdog. Anaheim is in a race to the bottom of the standings this year.
They beat us last night. Thank you.
Yeah. In fact, Anaheim technically still ahead in the sweepstakes.
No.
No, they still are. I'm looking at the standings right now.
What? Whoa.
They are ahead in the sweepstakes. They're not ahead in the standings.
Right. That's what I mean.
That's what I'm getting at.
Well, we're tied.
Right, tied, but Blackhawks have one more win overall, which is the tiebreaker.
Man, do they have an abysmal plus or goal differential?
Yeah, league worst minus 96 goal differential.
Good God! You know what? They fix it tomorrow because I'm taking Anaheim as well. I don't want to be different. It's kind of fun, and also the Capitals are just a mess at the moment.
And our final game of the night, Carolina Hurricanes minus 125 at the Vegas Golden Knights plus 105. Some great late night hockey.
Yes. I probably will stay up for this game. This game sounds fun.
Sure should be.
Man, this one's tough. Do I pick with my heart or do I pick with my brain? And are they the same pick?
I mean, I'll throw this out there. Carolina has points in 8 of their last 10. Vegas has points in 9 of their last 10.
Right. Both are insane. Vegas is like quietly. Vegas is just quietly a wagon. They're just getting overshadowed by everything else.
Yeah, all the attention is on the teams out east and then Vegas.
And with that said, I love a good home dog, especially when the home dog is a damn good team. Give me my secondary team. Give me the Golden Knights in this one. I don't know how I feel about it because obviously Carolina is a wagon and they usually put me to bed when I pick against them. But you know what? I'm going to do it again. Pick against them.
I'm going to go with Carolina in this one. And the big reason for me is they've picked up points in all but 4 road games this season. So
they are a good road team.
Points in 24 of 28 road games. 18, 4, and 6 on the road. Vegas 18, 13, and 1 at home. I like Carolina here. I think they're the better team overall. I think neutral site, I would take Carolina to win as well.
It's interesting. They're so good. They're so good on the road. I think it's just because like nobody wants to live in Carolina and in either of the Carolinas.
Yeah, Carolinas are kind of nice.
Yeah, for a vacation, not to live. I'm just going at everybody.
So let's just recap that. Yeah, Joel, if you're just joining us, Joel is taking down everybody tonight. You know, the
ironically, I actually have not gone after the Wild, the Blues.
You went after the Blues.
How? I call them cowards.
They wouldn't commit to.
You're right. You're right. Fine. I haven't gone at the Wild. I haven't gone at Nashville. I actually commended them on their trades.
We still got 2 minutes for roughing coming up, so
we got whoa!
A lot of emotion there.
There's one other thing we need to do.
Let me recap the picks first, and then get to that.
All right.
I am taking the Carolina Hurricanes. Joel is taking the Vegas Golden Knights. We both are taking the Anaheim Ducks. I am taking the New Jersey Devils. Joel is taking the Colorado Avalanche. We both are doing Coyotes for the bit. First time this season. I love that we both did that. We knew it was coming.
Hell yeah.
First time this season, Coyotes for the bit. We need to get a sound effect for that.
Yeah, we really do.
Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm taking the Maple Leafs. Joel, you were taking Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
And then we both are absolutely hammering New York Rangers minus 1.5. I literally put a bet on it while we were recording the show. So
with a bonus of when it's available, Patrick Kane anytime goal scorer.
Yes. Joel, we're going to start a new segment here. Parlay of the day.
Joel and Dan's parlay of the day.
Joel, hit us with what you got.
All right. So it's actually for tonight, and I believe it already started, right?
Might have. I'm trying to remember what games you picked on this one.
Oh no, cool. Neither games have started. One game starts in literally 1 minute, then the other starts at 8 p.m.
Yep, so go sprint and lock this one in.
Yep. So go run to do. Take the Kraken at the Blues minus 1.5 on the puck line.
Mm-hmm.
Parlayed with the Bruins at the Calgary Flames at minus 1.5. Both away teams taking them at minus 1.5 on the puck line. That is the parlay of the day.
I am absolutely fading Calgary. I texted you and HP about a week ago.
Yep.
as like get plus money while you still can on Calgary to miss the playoffs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because they're fifth in the Pacific. They're behind 4 teams in the Central. And they're just fading fast. I don't see them having the space to make a move, and just kind of rudderless at the moment. Fading Calgary. So yeah, getting those 2. What was the payout on that one?
On the parlay?
The odds, yeah.
The odds, I will pull them up. I have to get exact odds for you very quickly. The odds on that parlay off of FanDuel Sportsbook specifically was a plus 687.
Yeah.
Pretty solid. So like
good odds there, and just on 2 games. So
yeah, exactly. Both puck line, both minus on 2 teams that love to score. So
yep. And against 2 teams that have struggled recently, and the Blues really tailing down, moving everybody out.
Absolutely. And that's going to be one of our new things we do, and we will tweet it out from our official Twitter account at the end of every show. So be on the lookout for that if you didn't hear it, or well, if you didn't hear it now, you're not going to get it in, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll start trying to do some of these throughout the week as well, if we see parlays that we think
exactly
really have some steam.
We'll tweet we will start tweeting them out early so you can have them, and then we will say them on the show.
Yes, that is going to be the way to do it going forward. Joel,
yeah,
the time has come. 2 minutes for roughing. You have already gotten a lot off your chest during the show today, but still a little bit more for us. 2 minutes worth at least. Are you ready to go?
I am, and to everyone's surprise, this is actually not Patrick Kane related, and it's not even hockey related.
Well, then let's get this rig rolling. 3, 2, 1, go.
So, as everyone probably knows, spring training has started for the MLB. I don't know. I don't know about you, Dan. Well, I do know about you. You've always been an avid baseball fan. I've continued to grow as a baseball fan pre-Cubs World Series and, the good Cubs teams and everything, but also post their big blow up and rebuild. Like I've definitely gotten into it more and more as the years go on. It's fun. It also helps when you live right by Wrigley Field. And spring training has been testing out the pitch clock and a couple, among a couple other interesting rules to try and speed the game up. And I was listening to the radio this morning and heard a lot of talks and a lot of back and forth about, these millennials and Gen Zs want the game to be slow, and they're yelling at all the old people. Screw you, boomer. You want the game to be long, and we just want to get it. Stop right there, because not every millennial, not every Gen Z, I am a millennial, so is Dan, wants baseball to be fast. I, for one, do not want a baseball game to be 2 hours. I'm okay with it being 4 hours. That's the thing. You understand that that's the game, especially when I'm going live to those games. I want to be able to sit there, chill, go grab myself a beer or 2 or 3, go grab myself a hot dog, what have you, and I don't want to be rushed. I don't want to pay my hard-earned money to go to, let's say, a Cubs game. I'm a Cubs fan. Go to a Cubs game and then be like, oh, we got a first pitch at 1:05 p.m. and I'm out by maybe 2:15. That sucks. That's not getting your money's worth. And quite frankly, we understand baseball is supposed to be a long game. Not every young person wants the game to go by in an hour and a half to 2 hours. That's stupid.
Yeah, I think people forget that when baseball was invented and it wasn't meant to have timed anything to the game, like it was meant to kill an afternoon or longer. And there was no time limit because what else did you want to do? People wanted to be entertained. So you'd go watch the baseball game and you'd sit there for the whole time and enjoy it. I get there are TV contract stipulations that come into play. I get that there are, you're wanting there to be more of the action, but take away too much of what makes baseball, and you're going to lose the game altogether. The starting extra innings with a runner on second, not a big fan of that. The pace of play rules, not a fan. Yeah, HP saying the pitch clock sucks. 100% agree, Joel. If I'm going to the game live, I want to enjoy the game, not be rushed out of the stadium. Exactly. And especially when I have to go, already, if you're going to go get a beer, you're standing in line for at least a half inning because, after a while, the guy with cold beer isn't walking around. They're going to make you walk and go get it. So you're going to miss time there. HP saying Manfred out. I need to wear my Fire Manfred shirt.
Manfred.
I think, when is opening day this year? Do you know off the top of your head? Thursday, March 30th is apparently opening day. So on that last our Tuesday show that we'll do before that, I'll wear the Manfred out or Fire Manfred shirt.
Yeah, no, I'm all for certain rule changes in baseball. Like, I'm all for robot umps. That sounds cool to me.
If they can get it to work right.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And obviously you'll have to calibrate some things. That's fine. I'm all for that. But and I'm also all for I know they limited the mound visits and stuff like that. That's fine. That even I agree. That's just, what the hell's going on? Dude, pitch the damn ball. What's happening here? Yeah. That I agree with. But the pitch clock itself, that's stupid. Also, I heard today, I didn't actually see this, but they were making fun of it because, obviously they're who I was listening to on the radio was agreeing with my take. Well, it was like the pitcher walks to the mound or the batter walks to the mound. It was something like that. And he didn't quote greet the pitcher. So it was already a strike. I was like, what? Well, what do you want me to do? I'm walking up to the batter's box. Just, hey, how's it going, man? How you doing? How's the kids? Good.
You're throwing a fastball on this first pitch?
Yeah. You don't have to tell me. I'm making sure I'm here because I'm not sure what else you might be looking at.
If you're going to throw a fastball, just don't throw it inside. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Appreciate you. Maybe up and away curveball. I don't know.
Let that thing hang for me.
Yeah, that'd be real appreciated. But there you go, ump. I greeted him.
That's it for tonight's show. Thank you to everybody who watched, commented throughout the show. Reminder, we'll be live on Friday with some trade deadline reaction. That'll be
anything.
It depends because most of it was today, it felt like, but we'll still kind of recap some stuff there, give some more final stances on now that teams are locked in, where are they going from here, and just kind of some other reactionary type stuff there. So be sure to like, subscribe, and follow on Twitter at PodSnipeCelly, and on Facebook you can search PodSnipeCelly there as well. Thank you to Noob Sports and the Sports 2.0 Network for giving us this platform to talk hockey. Joel, one last time. Patrick Kane is a New York Ranger.
He is. Thank you for everything, Patrick Kane. You are a legend, and you will forever be on the Mount Rushmore of Chicago athletes.
That's it for tonight's show. Joel, we'll leave it there. He's Joel. I'm Dan. Enjoy your night, everybody.